Hey folks, hope you're all doing well. Just going to go through a quick demo of this deployment of our full stack application. So as you can see here, I got my Monorepo here with two subfolders, client and server. Server is just an Express application you should all be familiar with. At this point, client is just from Create React App. Not much I've changed there yet. So you can see they're both in the same Git repository. Here. I'm not going to do much in GitHub, but I just wanted to show that it is registered under the same repository. So here's the Create React app. I'm just going to test that I can change things here. Hello from React. So that changed a lot. I kind of liked that styling just for now. All right, that's a little better, just to have that color and centered. So this guy's running on port 4000. Can refresh that. I have no default endpoint, but I have a hello from Node. So that's just this thing here. Just some JSON sent back. I also have one to fetch to my MongoDB right here. So if I go to /greeting, I'll get hello from Mongo. That's just pulling. I have one document in here that just has the greeting hello from Mongo, so I can distinguish between when we're getting something from the database or not. Great, so these are working independently. I just want to sort of verify that they work together. So this is just a little snippet, greeting, to get a fetch request from the backend. So we're going to have some state here. Use effect, we're going to fetch to our URL will be just that local server running there. Get the greeting, and then instead of hello from React, I'll just use that greeting from the state. So state, fetch in the effect, and render it there. That'll reload, and we're good. Hello from Mongo. Okay, so I jumped ahead. Yeah, greeting, so all the way from the database. Nice. Great, so those are working. I'll open up this here. Before I get into this, I'll just talk about, so this is hard-coded in, right? So that's not ideal. So we want something that's more dynamic, so an environment variable would be useful here. So we gotta make one, always have to prefix that with React app for environment variables in React. So we can take this, and instead of hard-coding that in, we'll use the process.env variable. Process.env. Great. And usually when you add something like an environment variable, you'll have to rebuild the whole thing. So you would close that, do yarn start, because at build time is when those things are brought in. All right, so looking at this article here, pretty solid guide. Just went over the project structure. We have client and server. Same thing, some options. We're following the third one, where they're inside the same one. Here's the configuration, all that good stuff. Main dish here is the deployment process. So it says create Netlify account and create a Heroku account. Netlify is a bit quicker. You just have to add like your GitHub or something like that. Heroku is a little more of a manual sign up here. You can see you can add, when you say company name, you just put ABC, doesn't matter, role, whatever. All this it doesn't matter too much. You'll create a free account and they'll send you an email where you just have to confirm that. I've done that, so I'll just log in. Right. Forgot one thing. Had to reset this recently. Nice. So that's good. We have the Heroku account is where we're going to be. Heroku is how we're going to deploy the backend, the Express server. So we'll go ahead with that first. It doesn't mention this in the article here, but I also had to add, I had to create a new app, right? So before you sort of hook it up, you have to create here, check to see if it's available. I'll do MERN app demo, MERN server, maybe. MERN server demo. All the way, MERN app server demo. Yes, green light. Create that app there. So this name, this project name, we're going to have to match when we deploy like this. This kind of shows you a nice. We've already done the git init, or at least I have. This, yeah, right. So this is how you initialize a repository, but you don't want to do it just for the server folder. You want to initialize the whole. I think you guys all have that for your projects already. So shouldn't have to worry about that. So the next step, I'll just open up a new terminal so we can have a look at what's going on here. Yeah, back to this article. Heroku login. So sorry, the next thing, install the Heroku command line. So for Mac, you just have this homebrew, as long as you have homebrew as well. Otherwise, you have to do install homebrew, and you'll come here and run this this guy here, like C onward. Actually, no, maybe this as well, bin bash, because yeah, it'll go to that directory. So you copy that, open up your terminal, and you run this whole thing. I have homebrew as well, so I don't want to go through that. It could take a while. So yeah, that's homebrew. When you have homebrew, you can just install Heroku command line through that. On Windows, you'll click one of these things, wait for this loader to finish, open that up, and go through the installer. I can't walk through that because I'm on Mac right now. Great, so assuming that's all good, you run that thing that they mentioned here, Heroku login. That's the same thing here. After we've installed the command line, we do Heroku login. So I'll do that if I can copy this properly. Heroku login. That'll open up this thing. If I just hit any key except Q, I'll open up this thing. And given I was logged in already, that should be pretty smooth. Close that, and you'll have a look here. You'll see your email in green. Next part is, so I don't need the Procfile, I don't do. You might have to, but so what we would be doing is not node distribution main.js. We would have like a different script to sort of run our server, something like yarn, not yarn, but node server.js kind of thing. What I do need is this thing, the engines. So I'll take the engines that are specified, go into the package. This is the package of the server. Sorry, this is not, but that's where it should be. So we have the client package and the server package. I'll go into the server package and just put this anywhere here. 14, I did 12 just because that's what I have on my local right now, but 14 should work just for Heroku. This is more for Heroku to run stuff. Yeah, so this is talking about giving access to just to show you my database here, just got this one guy here, hello from Mongo. So you go into network access, and you have to add an IP address to whitelist all the IP addresses. You would do 000. Some of you probably already have this. We can change that after to just like wherever the server is being hosted. We can figure that out. But yeah, this is all IP addresses are allowed. So next this is just what I went over here, scrolling down. Talking about environment variables, which are important. We'll go over that once we get this deployed. Great, so the script we're gonna run is to basically point to Heroku as, like, you know how we have origin? So when you do git push, it automatically goes to GitHub. This is like a similar place where it's hosted is Heroku is like you're pushing that sort of Git repository to Heroku. So you take git remote, add my project. Remember, it's not my project, it's whatever you named it. So like I named mine MERN app server demo. You can say Heroku, grab this thing here, git remote -a, and then whatever you named that project when you made it here, like when you did new project here. So I'll do that. That sort of sets up like a Git repository. I can check here. So it points, remember, origin points to GitHub, which I showed you earlier, and then the alias Heroku points to like where Heroku is hosting it. Great. So from there, you take this script here, which is kind of specifying the subtree that we're going to be deploying. Because so yeah, if you can see, I'm in the full stack app, which is kind of like the root. So it's not, if I'm in server and I try to run this, it's going to say you got to go to the top level of the Git repository. So I go full stack app is just what I named it. So this is this one here on the left. and then I run that. So this is pushing everything to Heroku and also triggering a build. Yeah, this is all good stuff. You can see it kind of building out. If you go to overview, you can confirm that build in progress. Here's the build progress, the same thing that's coming out there. Build succeeded, looks like good news. Procfile, yeah, we didn't add the Procfile, but this is going on here. Great, so was deployed to Heroku. So if you just open this up, it also shows it, I think here, just open app is the same. Yeah, so this is good. This was my root endpoint, which I don't have. So if I go to hello, we go hello from node. Awesome. That's this right here, this hello endpoint. Now I had the greeting one as well, right? So if I go greeting from, try to get a message from Mongo, greeting, and then, oh no, I have this error message. So remember we talked about environment variables. If you guys remember, you have to bring in your Mongo URI from your .env. So what the thing about deployment is you have to set this stuff, set your environment variables on the server, or like on the Heroku and Netlify. Sorry, so this is overview here. We go all the way to the right, settings, and then config vars, reveal config vars. These are the environment variables. So just directly like that, you don't want to copy the, if I go to the server .env, you don't want to copy the port because that's what Heroku is going to set, but we do need the Mongo URI, just like directly copy and paste the same key, and then copy this same value, add that. Nice, hide those, doesn't matter. Go back to the overview, you can see that after it was deployed, we changed that, we added this config variable. And now if we go back here, we're back in business. Sweet. So that's a super important part. That also applies to the front end. We'll see in a sec, because remember we set that environment variable on the front end. So for the most part, this back end is working great. So I'm just going to close this. I'll keep this open for now. Now I want to deploy the front end. So this was good. If you want, that's all good. Mongo connection. Next, starting from step 12, is onto the client code with Netlify. So you have to make a Netlify account. If you remember at the top here, it says go to Netlify. You can just say, you know, not Netflix, but Netlify. Sorry, I always mess up the spelling there. Netlify. If I grab that and I do this, Netlify. I'm already logged in, but it's just going to say, like, you know, authorize. GitHub is probably the easiest. So from there, remember we were pushing all this stuff you guys already have, repositories on Git there, but I added this here, so I'll just do that. This is for the server, so it doesn't matter so much. Actually, I'm surprised Heroku saw that. So add fetch here. I'll show you how to update the server as well. So I just do git push to push to GitHub, because by default it goes to that origin. Now, new site from Git. So click create new site from Git. We'll do GitHub. This thing will open up, might ask you to authorize. I'll search my MERN app here. That's the same one that we saw at the beginning. MERN app just has the client and the server. Commits was just like add fetch, what I just sent earlier. So back here, can leave all this stuff. I would have changed this to, well, we'll change these after. So for now, we'll just deploy site. This is not going to work because we have to specify like which directory, right? Like just like we had server, we had to specify that it was the server subdirectory. Client, we're going to do the same sort of thing, but with Netlify. So that finished fast because it probably broke. So we'll go into, if we follow along with this again, create a Netlify account and jump to step 12, which is client onwards. New site from Git is what we did. Create new site, hit the GitHub, searched for the thing, hit deploy site. Didn't work so well. You can change the site name here as well, kind of as a little side quest. Change site name from the thing that they gave us. MERN client should be all right. Not important. What is important is we go here to build and deploy. So this is where we can edit the build settings. It mentions this as well here, build and deploy, edit settings. And we're going to do these three things. So change the base directory to client, change the build command to yarn build, and change the publish directory to client/build. So that means, so back to here, edit settings, base directory is client. So it's going to go here, like this is like the, again, the subfolder. The build command is yarn build. We don't do this often with React, but this is like how it like compiles everything. So if you have any warnings, it's going to ask you to get rid of those. And then the publish directory. So after a React app like runs like yarn build, it makes a build folder like this. Actually, I ran it earlier, so you can see this is the build folder with like these crazy like, you know, mimified React app. So anyway, you have to specify that this is the folder that's going to be run. So just those three things that are mentioned here, and you hit save. So I'll go back here and hit save. Great, so those are changed, and I'll just go back to site overview, and we'll have to redeploy. So it mentions this here. Go to deploys, trigger deploy, clear cache, and deploy site. Deploys, trigger deploy, clear cache, and deploy site. Nice, so same kind of thing. Gonna watch that build out. Lastly, yeah, that's what we'll talk about as well. So close this, close this. From here, right? So we have this process.env React app. So this is like local because it's going to take it from, like when we're running it locally, it's just going to take it from our local .env, which shouldn't be on GitHub. So we're going to set something as well on Netlify that'll basically point to where our server is now hosted, which was this guy. So this is now our new endpoint. Instead of localhost, it's this, what the name of this is. So MERN app server demo. Hello from Mongo. This was the local one. I'll close that so I don't confuse myself. Great, so this is taking a little longer, build out for a bit. Whenever you want to change something, so like say on the server, you would just go cd server. Right now we push to GitHub, but that doesn't actually update the Heroku one, right? So if I want to say, go to server here and say hello from Heroku and node. So I'll add that there. You do the usual git add, greet, commit that. Now you kind of want to do both here, like you'd push to GitHub, but this doesn't change the production build. So from there, I'm gonna go up here because I don't remember exactly, but it's this one that we have here: git subtree push dash dash prefix server Heroku master, and then you push. Remember, got to go to the top. Pushing to that is just going to automatically rebuild it. Any errors you see are going to be here, and you can look at the build logs as well on here. See this activity. Let's check on this guy here. Something failed, logo. So there's the compile thing that, remember I was just talking about. This little yellow thing doesn't fly on the build. So I'll save that. Push fixed compile error. It's just because I didn't use it. So when it has it strict like that, it won't compile. So we can check again here. If I go if you remember, I kind of got sidetracked here, unrelated. If I say hello, now I have Heroku and node. So that's just like live updating the server. Now to fix what I did here. So when I change something now on Netlify, it's a little more simple. It's just the git push. Because it's deployed directly from GitHub, when I update GitHub, it automatically updates Netlify. So I should be looking at another deploy. If I go to back to deploys, I don't have to do anything. It's just building again, right? That last one failed. I updated something, pushed to GitHub, and now it's rerunning the whole thing. If I refresh this, fixed compile error there. So when this updates, the Netlify is going to update as well. This is just that thing, so I can close this. Yeah, this is all working fine. I'll give this a second to build, and then I'll come right back. Awesome. So this is a nice little sign here. Site is live. So we can go back to this site overview, and somewhere I can see it. Yeah, right there. So that's it there. But you see we're missing something here. Remember, we're going to have to change that where that points to. So we used to have like our API URL set to localhost from the environment file here, but we'll do the same thing like Heroku. We'll do it here. So site settings, not change site name, build and deploy. I think again, yeah, build and deploy all the way down here to environment variables. So Heroku called it config variables. Netlify called it environment variables. What can you do? So we'll go to this guy. If we open this app, copy this. One caveat here is this backslash, don't want to keep that. That's like the root here is this thing, and then everything slash hello will work from there. So I'll save that. And then now I think I'm gonna have to build this thing, right? Because remember that gets brought on at build time because it's a client app. It doesn't update like Heroku. Let's try. If I refresh, it may be that like, yeah, I'll check here the console. Yeah, so undefined greeting. So it didn't bring in that environment variable, so I'll have to redeploy it. So how you trigger a redeploy, like you could, change something and then deploy again to GitHub. But in this case, we don't have anything to change, so we'll just go to deploys and trigger that ourselves. So trigger, clear cache, and deploy site. After this, when you want to do, you don't have to clear the cache completely. You would just, I think you can just rebuild it and it'll work. So yeah, let me do this one last build here. Be back in a sec. Awesome. So our site is live once again. If I go back here, same kind of issue, but a different cause. So now we have access to fetch at. So now we have our environment variable in here. Problem is we're getting a CORS error, cross origin resource sharing. So to fix that, it'll be on the back end. So we'll go over to the server. I'll cd server here, yarn add CORS. That's running. I'll import it here. Kind of like that. CORS, and then at the top here, app.use CORS like that. And then we'll have to specify what the allowed origin is. So actually first it's an object. So CORS option is some object, and now one of the options is the origin. So I'll specify the origin there by copy and pasting this guy. Again, when you do that copy and paste, you're gonna have to delete that last backslash that was there. So this was here, make sure to delete that. So it's just the base there. And now if you remember how to fix that or update the server, we add both these guys here, added CORS, commit that, and then git push, not just to GitHub, because it's the one that matters in this case is Heroku. So git push subtree, first I'll have to go up to that root directory, git subtree push prefix server, pushing to Heroku. I'll also do to GitHub as well, just to keep things updated. But remember you're managing two kind of remote repositories here, the production build and then just like your GitHub. So this guy's building out here. Should be a little quicker. I can check again overview. You can see the build progress here. Same stuff, maybe a little easier to read outside of the terminal. Great, so it's deployed. I can check by opening here how that looks there. Nice, that's finished here. Error, hello. Sweet, hello from Heroku Node. Now this guy, if I refresh, hello from Mongo. So remember I went here, we just fetched to /greeting from the React App API URL, which we brought in our it's not deploy, yeah, in here. So deploy settings, or you go to like site settings and then build and deploy. Environment at the bottom here, we added this one. So that's what brings that in and tells us where to fetch for our API that we've hosted on Heroku. And then we got it here, and this is loaded up there. So I think that's it here. You did it, yeah. So yeah, that's it. Have these two hooked up, should be good. If I remember something else to add, or if you guys have any more questions, of course, just message in the group or message me. Uh, yeah, and good luck with the rest of your projects.